The next question that we have here, question 3a. Question 3a says, learn everything that is good from others. Okay, but bring it in and in your own way absorb it. Do not become others. Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda. Now, Swami Vivekananda, what Swami Vivekananda says? Swami Vivekananda highlights this particular thing that be pragmatic, be open to learning. Don't be very much rigid in your thinking. Don't be the prisoner of the past. Try to learn from other. But at the same time, don't leave your own roots. Don't become just the other person. What is positive? Learn. What is negative? Reject. Okay? Stay rooted. Now, Swami, now here, you see, introduction, what we can do. So the good approach to write these quote-based question is that in introduction, simplify that particular quotation. So just even a 5th grade kid can understand it. So Swami Vivekananda's quote emphasized the importance of learning from others without losing your own identity, without losing one's own individuality or identity. What it encourages? It encourages adopting the best practices, best values, best lessons from the other people, and they are needed to be assimilated. You need to learn and they need to be assimilated in a unique way that aligns with your personality, that aligns with one's unique personality. Now, if you want an alternative way to write introduction is also, you can complement it with the Gandhiji's quotation. So Gandhiji, so what happened? So Gandhiji said that I want to build a house. I want to build a house which will be open from all sides so that wind can crisscross through this house. But at the same time, I will refuse to get detached from my roots. I'll refuse to get detached from my roots. Now, what it means? Gandhiji is saying that I want to build a house means I want to be a kind of a person. I want to build a house open from all sides. I want to be a person which learns from all the culture, which learns from all the social values and norms. But at the same time, I will not forget my own unique identity. So this is what also you can do. Now, when we talk about this particular quotation, then what you can do in the main body, you can show the importance of this particular quotation and you can show this particular importance on multiple contexts. You can show this particular importance in multiple contexts. For example, in the context of globalization, we see this particular thing that because of the globalization, a lot of global exchanges are happening. These global exchanges are happening on the front of culture, on the front of economy, on the front of values, on the front of political values. These cultural exchanges are happening. Now, as globalization has exacerbated, enhanced the exchanges on the world level, we need to absorb only the good things. We only need to absorb the good things. What is happening today? Today, because of the globalization, we are losing our local identity in the name of global. Fine, we need to keep it in mind. Then westernization. Today, what has happened because of the westernization, there is a kind of a west toxification that is happening. Today, we are getting influenced by the Western, and everything that the West is doing, we think that is the right approach. There is a West toxification that is happening. We need to understand this particular thing, that Western countries can teach us something, but we should not abandon our own local customs, local cultures, local identities for the West. Then, in the cultural exchanges, we should learn the positive aspects of the cultures, but should give away the superstitions or dogmas that the other cultures might be having. Now, learning from others also will avoid the herd mentality and herd morality. While learning from the other, we need to ensure that what the majority is doing, we should not also start doing that thing. Herd mentality, herd morality, what majority is justifying. So that cannot be the only parameter of right, because many number of times, majority might have some misplaced standards. What we are trying to say here? We are trying to say here, learn everything that is good, but avoid at the same time herd mentality, herd morality. So this particular message of Swami Vivekananda highlights the balance between learning from external sources and maintaining one's own individuality. Be open-minded, but maintain your own individuality, your own unique identity. Then moving on, next question we have is question number 3b. So question number 3b says, faith is of no avail, no importance in the absence of strength. Faith and strength both are essential to accomplish any great work. Sardar Patel. Sardar Patel. Now, again, what we can do in introduction, we can simplify this quotation, and then we can bring the hidden messages that are there in this particular quotation. So, what happened? Sardar Patel, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel highlights that there are two important attributes to a successful life. Okay, to any successful endeavor. That is, number one, you need to have faith. Number two, you need to have strength. Now, faith will establish vision. Faith will give you optimism that a particular thing is achievable, and strength will help you to actualize it. Strength will help you to execute it. Only faith I have, only conviction I have, but if I don't have strength, I cannot take the desirable actions. Okay, but if I have only strength, I don't have any faith, then those particular actions might not get a proper path. So Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel's statement highlights balance between faith and strength in achieving success. So, what is the role of faith? Now, both are indispensable. We'll accept it. Now, what will be the role of faith? Faith is a foundation of great endeavor. Faith is foundation of great endeavor. Faith initiates a dream. Faith inspires to dream. Faith help you in the dark times. Faith will help you to persist, to continue. And faith will help you to overcome the challenges when things look very difficult, when the situation become difficult. Faith will keep you intact in these particular times. Now here we'll take the example from the India's freedom struggle. Now basically the dream that India could be independent one day, that dream started from the faith. That dream started from the faith. Okay, so there were colonial repression. Okay, colonial power at one point of a time was very powerful. Okay, at one time they were committing a lot of atrocities, but even in those atrocities, it was the faith that we harbored a dream of independence. Then what is the need for strength? Now, strength in terms of both. Now, when we talk about strength, it's not only physical strength as well as mental strength. Both are very much necessary so that the faith can be translated in action. Faith might become just a figment of imagination if strength is not there, because that strength will put that particular faith in execute. Strength will help us to take the actual concrete steps. So, without strength, faith remains a mere abstraction. It remains a mere abstraction. It becomes just a figment of imagination. Now, faith will help to bring the tangible results. What this faith will ensure, and it will include resilience, hard work, determination. Now, what we'll do here, we'll put an example from the Sardar Patel's life only. Now, Sardar Patel, the Iron Man of India, we all know the role that he played in the unification of India. So, what happened? India, we find that with the integration of 560 plus princely states, Indian Union was created. Now, this dream that these 560 plus princely states could be unified by Indian Union, it started with the faith that Sardar Patel had. Then this particular faith was followed with strength, and by that Sardar Patel was able to unify India, and 560 plus princely states were unified. So, faith without, now, interdependence of faith and strength will show the interdependence of faith and strength. One in isolation cannot be useful. So, faith without strength will be futile, will be a figment of imagination. Similarly, strength without the faith will lack direction, will lack meaning. So, we need to have both, and then it can have application in governance and leadership also. So, for example, administrators, they need to have faith in law, they need to have faith in judiciary, they need to have faith in the system, and then they also need to have the required strength to enforce the rule of law. Okay. Now, moving on. Question 3C, in law, A man is guilty when he violates the rights of others. In ethics, he is guilty if he only thinks of doing so. If he only thinks of doing so, Immanuel Kant. Immanuel Kant. So this quotation we have discussed many number of times in our classes also. In fact, if you see, we have discussed law, rules and regulations as source of ethics. There we discussed also that what is the difference between law and ethics. We have discussed the difference between the law and ethics. Okay. Now, how we can start this particular quotation? So as I said that this kind of an approach is a decent approach and will help you simplify the quotation that has been given. So basically, Immanuel Kant, what he's doing, Immanuel Kant in his statement, it is drawing a distinction between ethical guilt and legal guilt. Between legal guilt and ethical guilt. Legal guilt will emerge when you have broken the law. Ethical guilt will emerge when you even thought to break a law. Okay, so basically, when ethical guilt is there, ethical guilt is more broad. Ethical guilt puts a lot of responsibilities on an individual. Okay, ethical guilt, you might be unethical. Ethical guilt is more broader. It might go beyond the legal framework. Now, one particular thing you see that when we talk about the ethics and law, ethics and law, ethics is based on maximalist standard. Law is based on minimalist standard. What does it mean? Law will always impose you. Law on you will impose the bare minimum standards that you need to follow. Bare minimum standards that you need to follow. For example, when you are riding a motorbike, law says at least wear a helmet. This is a bare minimum that we expect from you. At least don't harm anyone. This is law. This is bare minimum that we can expect. You want to do charity, it is optional. You may do, you may not do, but at least don't harm the people. This is law. Law is putting the bare minimum things that you need to do. Ethics, maximalist standard, it will impose on you the perfect type of behavior. It will impose on you what ought to be, what is ideal. Ethics will impose on you what is ideal. This therefore you see this particular thing. Law, minimalist standard, at least this much you should do. Ethics, maximalist standard. Now when you are here, you are not violating law, but still you are below the level of ethicality. Still you are below the level of ethicality. Now when we here, okay, here we can give the reference also. So Gandhi and Ram Rajya, idea of Shangri-La. Now Gandhi and Ram Rajya, if we talk about the Gandhiji's Ram Rajya, what type of state Gandhiji's Ram Rajya was? Gandhiji's Ram Rajya was enlightened anarchy. Being an enlightened anarchy, there will not be a elaborate legal system. There will not be a state. In fact, Gandhiji's Ram Rajya was based on virtues. It was based on virtues. It was based on this particular belief that human inherently and by their very basic nature, they will act in cooperation and harmony. So what I'm saying, in fact, Gandhi and Ram Rajya, Shangri-La, they gave more importance to ethicality. They give more importance to ethicality. Now, so Kant has made a distinction between ethical guilt and legal guilt. What is more important, following law or following ethics? Actually, it is ethics that is more important. What you should aspire for? Should you aspire for this minimalist standard or maximalist standard? You should aspire for this maximalist standard. Why following this maximalist standard ethics is more important? Many reasons are there. Many reasons are there. So according to Anaxagoras, so Anaxagoras says that written laws are like spiders' webs, which only entangle and hold the poor and weak, while the rich and powerful will easily break through them. So law will not be able to catch the rich people, influential people. Often you see this particular thing, we see that rich people, they mold, they bend the law as per their will. Poor people, they get entangled in the law. So just by focusing in law, we cannot think that the justice in the society will come, because law will be used and misused by the rich. It is ethicality which will actually bring the justice in the society. So just to ensure that people are not doing any illegal thing, that will not bring justice. You need to ensure that people are held guilty not only for violating law but also for violating ethics. There are the history of immoral laws. Next point, second point, history of immoral laws. There was a slavery at one point of a time. it was legalized, but it was questioned by the ethics. So people who were doing slavery, as per law, they were not doing any wrong, but as per ethics, they were doing wrong. And on the basis of ethics, it was called as wrong. So now if you see, just if you connect with this particular quotation, in law, man is guilty when he violates the right of others. In ethics, he is guilty even only if he is thinking to do so. So ethics will put far more higher standards, and by following it, by imposing it, society will actually become just. Civil servants, okay, if they just focus on legal guilt, they will act on the edge of misconduct. They will never go beyond the rules to help the poor people. Empathy, compassion will not be there. Law might lead to niti, but ethics plus law will lead to nyay, that is the procedural justice. Okay, so legal guilt, ethical guilt are different, but basically ethical, one need to avoid ethical guilt as well. Okay, moving on. Fine.